Let's continue interpreting Michael Easter's Scarcity Brain. Today, we'll finish this book. We've talked about the scarcity loop and more general narrow-mindedness. These patterns are much more widespread and useful than we previously realized. First, if you can recognize that you are in a state of narrow-mindedness, you can immediately break free from it. The only thing holding you back is your brain. Secondly, you can use the scarcity loop to your advantage, such as designing user experiences or creating employee incentive programs. However, these are minor uses and not worth advocating. Finally, let's talk about the big picture. How to live with a scarcity brain in this abundant world. The challenge of the modern world lies in having too many options. We constantly need to choose between immediate gratification and long-term goals, struggling between being controlled and wanting to control. The scarcity loop itself isn't necessarily bad, and often brings joy. It's just too concentrated, too fast, and too shallow. We can indulge occasionally, but we mustn't forget what we truly want. You want to live consciously and deliberately, always aware of your current situation. This way, you can choose to participate or not. You seek real freedom. Easter proposes a solution, called the abundance loop. If resources are abundant, how can we take control? Let's first examine shopping as a scarcity loop. Everyone has a natural fondness for material wealth. Material desire is a very basic need. We like to accumulate material wealth for 3 reasons: utility, display, and identity. Possessing something or being loyal to a brand gives you a sense of belonging, known as brand tribalism. These are normal needs. However, there is also a compulsive need to hoard things that are useless, can't be displayed, and don't contribute to identity, which is abnormal. 6% of Americans suffer from this modern disease, called compulsive buying disorder. Constantly browsing shopping websites and live streams, receiving piles of packages daily, all filled with worthless and useless items. What's the appeal? Their dopamine trigger is discounts. Finding a discounted item is an opportunity. This bag usually sells for $2,000, but today there's a 40% discount. This is an unpredictable reward. Quickly buy it to earn points, and soon a new item appears in the live stream, which is quick repetition. A typical scarcity loop. We often marvel at how some people make hasty decisions on major life matters, but meticulously compare prices for small online purchases, indicating they are addicted to the thrill of discounts. The result is a home filled with useless items. In response to this material obsession, a trend called minimalism has emerged. Minimalism requires you to be very cautious when buying things, only purchasing what is truly needed and of high quality. It cancels any form of hoarding. If you haven't used something for, say, 2 months, it should be thrown away. This way, your home will be almost empty, exceptionally tidy, with a minimalist style. Some scholars believe minimalism and excessive hoarding are 2 sides of the same coin. Both are pursuits of perfection. Hoarders fear they might need something in the future, so they keep it. Minimalists fear something will clutter their life, so they discard it. Both are controlled by material things in their quest for control, causing anxiety. So, how can you avoid being controlled? By using things as means, not ends. Your focus shouldn't be on whether to have it, but on what you intend to do with it. Easter proposes a motto: gear, not stuff. Stuff is hoardable. No matter how much you already have, you can always add more. Gear, however, is for doing things, a means to achieve higher purposes. You don't really care about using this or that. For example, middle-aged men are now into fishing. Fishing should be a relaxing, zen activity, but these men turn it into a competition of fishing rod brands. The rods get more expensive, yet they rarely catch any fish. If you care about fishing, rather than fishing rods, any gear will do, as long as it's handy. This simple principle is summarized by Easter into the abundance loop. 1. Replace opportunity with meaning. Your fishing skills are clearly more meaningful than owning a high-end fishing rod. 2. Replace instant rewards with deep experiences. The dopamine from collecting rods cannot compare to the joy of immersing in fishing. 3. Replace quick repetition with expert judgment. If you're an expert angler, you won't be easily attracted by a new rod. Fishing versus fishing rods, reading versus watching short videos, publishing articles versus posting photos. Once you experience higher meaning and deeper joy from the abundance loop, you'll disdain the scarcity loop. But where does deeper meaning come from? I think it's a fated setting given to our scarcity brain by evolution. Deeper meaning comes from scarcity. If you could just sit by the river, and fish would jump into your bucket, you wouldn't find fishing interesting. You don't want every wish instantly fulfilled. Such a world does exist, for example, in games. In games, you can use cheats to instantly have unlimited resources and powerful armies, but you'll quickly find it uninteresting to destroy enemies that way. We live in the real world to experience life under constraints, to dance with shackles, to accompany scarcity. And it's proven that limitations foster creativity. For example, writing poetry requires adhering to metrical rules, which limit your choice of words, but also force you to creatively explore word meanings and invent novel usages. An experiment divided subjects into two groups, using psychological cues, one inclined to believe resources are scarce and the other that resources are abundant. Both groups were tasked with creative games, such as building a cool toy from a pile of Lego bricks. Both groups had the same materials. In all tests, the group that believed in scarcity found more creative solutions. It's like in the past, when living standards were lower, many people were skilled craftsmen, able to make use of various things. Now, people can't even assemble ready-made furniture by following the instructions. Scarcity enhances creativity. Scarcity also makes people cherish what they get. Recently, I bought a treadmill, which came in a bunch of parts that I assembled overnight. After setting it up, it ran but didn't incline. I searched online, and several people had the same problem, but their solutions didn't work for me. I was very tired and ready to give up after emailing customer service. The next morning, I woke up with a new idea. I quickly tested it, and after a couple of tries, the problem was solved. What I want to say is not about the solving process, but how this episode made me increasingly fond of that treadmill. My sense of ownership significantly increased. Experienced it, solved it. This is the meaning of history. We love this land, not because it gives us a carefree, happy life, but because it has many issues that our ancestors have experienced and solved, making it precious, because of its challenges. Easter has a motto. No problem, no story. Life is full of stories, and each story needs a challenge or a problem. Solving the problem makes it a hero's journey. Scarcity also drives us to explore actively. Throughout long evolutionary history, humans had to explore new environments due to material scarcity. Exploration has become an instinct. Newborns scan new scenes longer than old ones. New things automatically attract us. This instinct is so strong that even animals, even when well-fed and lacking nothing, like to explore new environments. In a sense, news and short videos are concentrated forms of exploration, providing new information with a flick of a finger. But the joy of exploration often lies not in the result, but in the process. True exploration requires tolerating failure. Only with failure is there adventure, and only adventure is interesting. Easter suggests the simplest adventure is dining, without checking online reviews. Maybe it's a friend's recommendation, a random spot you passed by, a hidden gem, or a disappointment. But the experience itself is always interesting. You don't always want search engines to tell you definitive knowledge. You want to discover uncertain findings yourself. Studies show that even a walk, if you notice changes around you, things you missed last time, benefits your attention, creativity, and mental health. Thus, Easter's book doesn't advocate eliminating the scarcity brain and adopting an abundance brain. We accept the evolutionary setting, and still derive meaning from scarcity. But we can always choose to be proactive, rather than passive. Watching an hour of short videos, enjoying the condensed joy of the scarcity loop, is fine. As long as you do it deliberately. The fear isn't intending to watch for an hour, but ending up watching for 3 hours, and spending a lot of money. Passive indulgence gives a sense of shallowness, which leads to a feeling of loss. And this sense of loss is dominating the world. An analysis of 150,000 pop songs, from 1965 to 2015 found that the use of the word love in lyrics halved over 50 years, while hate increased. Words expressing joy and happiness decreased, while those expressing pain and sadness increased. We seem less appreciative of the world's abundance. Perhaps it's because we've passively received too much. Perhaps it's from comparing ourselves with others. People used to compare themselves with those around them, easily feeling content. Now, we compare ourselves with celebrities. Everyone grows up being told they might become a star, but when they realize they are ordinary, they feel very sad. Condensed joy and comparison with celebrities make people feel lost, but the biological setting of the scarcity brain remains. You can make people addicted by regulating dopamine, but there's no method to make people feel continuously happy. Perhaps happiness lies in seeking long-term meaning and profound experiences in a world of scarcity. This connects with Hitendra Wadhwa's Inner Mastery, Outer Impact. How your 5 core energies hold the key to success. The scarcity loop attracts you with small goals, while a happy life must be governed by a larger purpose. We need to find meaning from scarcity, while avoiding being controlled by the scarcity loop, which is not easy. Here are a few key points. Don't overdo it, moderate. Don't rush, slow down. Don't seek definite answers, take risks. Don't use quantitative measures, feel the complexity. Don't go for the easy, solve problems yourself. Scarcity Brain is now complete. Living well in abundance is not easy. May you take more initiative.
If you feel there is value in this, please like, subscribe to this channel, and leave your thoughts or suggestions in the comments section. Let's grow together and read more good books.